Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Before I dive on into today's first look, I do want to remind you, if you enjoy the Gaming Gang and would like to support the outlet, you can do so in a few different ways. First, by utilizing our One Bookshelf affiliate links, such as Drive-Thru RPG, in the banners that you find over on thegaminggang.com, or by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal, or by becoming a monthly member of our Patreon. You'll find links in the show notes. Also in those show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server, which is absolutely free to join, so be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. Today, I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at First in Flight from Artana and Genius Games. It is designed by Ben Rossett and Matthew O'Malley, with artwork provided by Tomas Bogus and Amelia Sales. And hopefully I've pronounced those names correctly. This game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 45 to 75 minutes. Does carry an MSRP of $59.99. Having said all that, let's swing out over to the other camera, because here I've got First in Flight. Before we start, I do want to mention the fine folks over at Genius Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. It's important you know that. All right, let's get the shrink wrap off here. I have to say, this is the sort of game that's really going to appeal to both my brother as well as my nephew, because they both work in the airline industry and they're both fascinated by flight and aircraft and things like that. My understanding is that you are going to be competing to create the first flying machine. Sounds cool. Race to the record books with First in Flight, a lofty deck building game that puts you in the earliest pilot's seats. Up to 4 players choose from historical aviation pioneers, vying to conquer the skies by testing their flyers, improving their designs, and taking risks to defy gravity. Facing aerodynamic hazards and unforeseen design flaws, will you settle for a safe landing or dare to stay the course? Call on luminaries of the industry. Use your accumulated skills and draw from experience to push your luck and your plane's limits. The aeronaut who flies farthest launches humankind to new heights. Nice. All right, let's jump on in here. First thing we'll do is take a peek at the rule book. In First in Flight, players take on the roles of early aviation pioneers at the start of the 20th century. They'll begin with a basic flyer and must choose from a variety of actions to improve their design while balancing the risks that these upgrades introduce. As they begin to fly, they must use their skills and experience to land safely and set new flight records. After 4 years, or when any player reaches a distance of 40 or more, the player who has flown the farthest wins. So we've got a game board, year tracker, player mats for each of the players. We have 10 pilot cards. There is a game card for a 2-player game. We have pilot pawns. We have various different flight cards. So we've got glide cards, experience cards, upgrade cards, descend cards, design flaw cards, basic flight problem cards, 10 friends, 14 technology cards, 18 skill cards, and there is also a solitaire rules aid. Just going to walk us through the setup here. Players in First in Flight take turns moving their pilot pawns clockwise around the action spaces on the game board, stopping to take a variety of actions. The player who is farthest behind always takes the next turn, and players may move forward to any unoccupied action space, skipping over other spaces to prioritize actions as they wish. The actions let players upgrade their flyers, fix problems they encounter, acquire powerful abilities, and go for a flight to test their designs. Play proceeds until any player sets a flight record of at least 40 or until the end of the 4th year. 4 trips around the board. So we've got info about building flyers, breaking records, and our development cards. So it looks like our friend cards can be used once per year. Technology cards are always in effect, and skill cards can be used once per flight. Players take turns moving their pilot pawns clockwise around the action spaces and taking the corresponding actions. The player whose pawn is farthest behind always takes the next turn. On a player's turn, if their pawn is standing up, the player moves their pawn clockwise to any unoccupied action space of their choice, skipping over any spaces as they wish. Once they have moved, the player must take the action indicated on the action space where they end their move. If they can't take the action, they can't move there. Once a player's action is resolved, the player who is farthest behind takes the next turn, even if it's the same player who just went. If their pawn is lying down, that is because their flyer crashed on the previous turn, then the player must take the recover action on their turn, and they will pay 2, I guess this is a time item there, time indicator, and set their pawn upright. Play continues in this way as all players complete a trip around the game board representing 1 year. With the player's final movements of the year, they will return to the start area, either by choice or with no action spaces remaining. Players may not move beyond the start area. First player to move into the start area will take the leftmost space and therefore go first in the next year, and so on. So you get some examples there. Action costs. So many actions have costs paid in money and or time. Money is paid with your coins. Time is paid by immediately advancing your pilot pawn forward by the indicated number of time spaces on the game board. All right, so I gotta say, even just to this point, I am very intrigued. So we've got different actions. We've got the fly action, which is the heart of the game. It takes your flyer to the sky to push for new records and uncover your design flaws. That's going to give us a walkthrough of that. Talking about our flight cards, design flaws. We get an example flight. One thing I have heard about first in flight is that the downtime could be an issue because as the active player, when you're taking a flight, it takes some time. I guess the other players around the table don't really have much to do other than just watch you as the player, active player, I guess I should say, taking your flight. So I'm kind of curious about that. So here's our other actions: recover action, repair action, upgrade action, glide and experience actions, and funding actions, as well as a development card action. Then we have ending the year. Travel around the game board represents your progress through the year. When the year ends, players pause to assess their progress. First player to enter the start area moves to the leftmost available position, which means they will go first in the next year. When all players have returned to the start area, the year ends. If this was the end of the 4th year, the game will immediately end. Otherwise, before beginning the next year, award the prizes for the Michelin Cup, advance the year tracker by 1, discard any remaining face-up, friend, technology, and skill cards, replace them with new cards. I guess we must have a bit of a market then. Then we also have players reset any exhausted cards to be used in the next year. And winning the game ends when any player sets a record of at least 40 or after the 4th year. In either circumstance, all players take one final fly action, including the player who first surpassed 40 if applicable. After all players have taken a final flight, the player with the greatest flight record is the winner. In the case of a tie, if one of the tying players triggered the end of the game, then they are the winner. Otherwise, it is a shared victory. We get some special rules for 2-player games and some clarifications of some of the rules. We get biographies. That's pretty cool. So these are not only the inventors, but it looks like also some of the friends cards. Nice. And then we have a quick reference on the back. So let's see what else we've got here in the box. Little ad for some other Genius games. So I will point out the fine folks over at Genius Games have sent me some other games as well, including Genotype. So we'll be taking a look at that in the not too distant future. Here we got a punch board with money. So this is one, and then that looks blank. So maybe these are worth maybe like 5 or something like that. Got a sticker sheet. We have our player mats or player boards, whatever you want to refer to them as, I believe. That's cool. I like that artwork. It's pretty nice. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to zoom in, give us a little better look. I'm assuming this is only one-sided. No, it's actually two-sided. Nice paper stock here. It's got a little bit of a linen finish. Like that brave new century. Who will be the first in flight? And these are all identical. So we have got that. We have got the sheet for the solo mode. Really nice thick cardstock on this also. Here's our game board. See how this folds out. Okay, just like so. And I think I just saw this is dual-sided. So I wouldn't be shocked if we have a game board. Maybe this is for the solitaire game. Or maybe a 2-player game. Really nice. I like the look of this. And then, cool insert, I must say. A very, very nice insert here. Here we've got our pawns. Looks like we've got some markers there as well. Ziploc baggie for our coins, no doubt. A variety of decks of cards. These must be our inventors. These are our flight cards. So first off, let's take a look at these pawns. That is our pilot. We've got 4 of those in different colors. So we've got some different airplanes. Yep, we have 3. Then we have this little time marker. I wonder if maybe that's the Michelin Cup. Here's our other 2 of our pilot pawns. They're nice. And we will take a peek at the cards. And we might as well zoom in even further to get an even better look at these cards. And I see in the upper corner, we have a number. So I'm going to guess that's probably our distance. So we've got 1s, then we have 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these are experience cards. Look like they're all number 1. They all have the same backing. Cardstock on these, solid, linen finish. But of course, as a deck building game, which means you're going to be shuffling up your decks quite a bit, I would certainly recommend sleeving your cards as I do with pretty much every card game, regardless if it's a deck builder or not. So we've got those. Looks like this might be more of the same. Wow, these are all ones. Okay. Got another deck here, and it looked like we had some experience cards to start off with. These are design flaws, I believe. It says basic flight problem, delicate wing structures, power failures, and unreliable elevator control. We got those. And I see we've got some of the friends cards and other cards here too. So here are the various different individuals. And I think this is technology. Practice makes perfect. Aluminum crankcase. Nice. That's pretty cool. Hinge rudder. Wheeled landing gear. All right. And then finally, we have our inventors. Of course, the Wright brothers, obviously enough. I like the artwork in these. Nicely done. And then, oh, this is the Descent card. Yep. So we had more of the Descend cards there. All right. So this is a peek inside First in Flight from Artana and Genius Games. Of course, I will have a review of First in Flight in the not too distant future. Once again, First in Flight is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 45 to 75 minutes, does carry an MSRP of $59.99. All right, that's it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.